Good morning, my Padawans. How are you guys doing today? Today I'm going to review a very important movie for the MCU, the Marvel Universe. Fantastic Four: First Steps. I believe it was released in July 25th or July 27th. It has been a while. The movie was directed by Matt Shakman, and it stars Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards. That's good. Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm. Yvonne Moss as Van Grimm, the Thing. And Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm. Now, I have not done a review on Marvel films in about 10 years. So I consider this for me personally, a very important part in history for Marvel's return to the big screen. But first I want to talk a little bit about Marvel and why I don't watch Marvel movies anymore. I really haven't been to the movies to watch a Marvel movie again in around 10 years. The last film I saw by Marvel, I believe, was Captain America 2. I never saw or watched Iron Man 2 or 3. Did not see Avengers Endgame. Did not see anything after that. I talked a lot about Deadpool and Wolverine. I refuse to watch it. I don't watch the Disney TV shows on Marvel. I really stopped watching Marvel films around 10 years ago. Now you're going to ask, why, Miller, if you're a comic book fan? And yes, I grew up with comic books. My favorite comics were Ghost Rider, X-Force, X-Men, Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, not too much. But I consider the Spider-Man trilogy to be the best, Marvel films ever brought up to the big screen. Please stick around. Jason Callan does a movie review every night. Sometimes he does 2 movie reviews in one day. And I don't know how the guy does it. I'm trying to catch up. I went to see Fantastic Four maybe about 2 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago. And I said I was going to do a review, and it has taken me this long to talk about Fantastic Four 2025. I can't keep up with Jason. I told him I'm not a fan of live reviews because there's too many distractions, and then you're reading stuff off the computer and you're looking at other reviews while you do it. I couldn't do that. I don't want to be chatting with people when I'm doing a review. I want to concentrate on the film, on the cinematography, on the acting, on the special effects, on the production, the writing, all that stuff. I don't know how Jason does it. Anyway, I told him that I was finally gonna do a review on this movie because it is an important step for Marvel. Why did I go see it? The trailer convinced me. It looked good. It looked like the original comics. The 60s costumes, the blue, the Fantastic Four logo, and it looked original. It looked like it's like from the comics. But that's why I went to see it. And also I had a free ticket and free popcorn and free drink for my birthday. So that was another incentive, okay? Now, when it comes to Marvel movies, this is what they did. We had the Avengers, which was great, okay? I did see the first Avengers. The Avengers are, Captain America, Thor, right? You have the Hulk, right? You have, Iron Man. I'm not too crazy about Iron Man. And this is the issue that I have with Marvel. They made Iron Man the leader of the Avengers. Okay? Now, Thor is sort of important, the Hulk, but Captain America was always the leader of the Avengers. And they ruined that for me when they made a big deal about Robert Downey Jr. and made him the leader of the Avengers. And then all the others were like side characters. And you do have a lot of side characters that I don't care about. But basically I care about Captain America, the Hulk, okay, Thor, right, and Iron Man. Those, for me, those are the Avengers. And then they ruined that. Now what happened, now what they did is they turned Iron Man into a black woman with Iron Heart. And it's a TV show now. So Iron Man is now a black woman. Captain America is now a black man. Okay, and there's ways that they try to explain it. They always make up stuff to change the swap the race or the sex or the gender of the character. The Hulk is now She-Hulk, okay? And they emasculated the Hulk. And then you have, what else? You have Thor, who's a woman now, Natalie Portman. So they basically destroyed the Avengers. They turned them all into nonsense. And now I hear the Avengers are some thunder people or whatever. I can't keep up with everything Marvel, okay? But I did like the original Fantastic Fours with Jessica Alba and I think it was Chris. Wasn't it that Chris guy that was in as the Torch? I can't remember the name. But I did like that movie, especially with the Silver Surfer being a man, like in the comic books. And at the end, you get to see Galactus, the Cloud of Galactus, a threat. And then they never made a sequel to that movie. So they left me hanging for like 10, 15 years. And I was upset. I'm like, what the hell? Where's Galactus? Right? And then they came out with some Fantastic Four nonsense where they turn all these characters into like black people and women and so I don't know what the fuck happened. It was like a transgender LGBT Fantastic Four. I didn't care for it. I didn't see it. So finally we get to now, right? Where they have this new movie, First Steps, Fantastic Four. And I was pumped up. I was like, I gotta go see this, oh man, I know it's good. And so I want to tell you, this mad guy, this director, he's good. He's when it comes to Disney, guys, Disney makes good sets. They make good designs, good sets, production, when they're preparing, when they do the pre-production, the world of this movie, which is New York, okay? It's good. I mean, the design is amazing. Now, one thing that Marvel fails at is CGI. It's cheap CGI, but that's okay. I'm not going to complain too much about CGI because I know it costs a lot of money to get it right. And they're trying to cut cost and they don't want to spend too much money on special effects. I get it. So all the money went into creating the Galactus. You can tell that they spend more money on the CGI Galactus, okay, than the other stuff. Now, part about doing a review is not just telling, and I talked to Jason about this, part of doing a review is just not retelling what happens in the movie. You don't want to retell what happens in the movie from start to finish. That's not a review. And, Roger and Eber, guys, Roger and Ebert only did like one review a week. Okay, one show a week, but they reviewed like 3 or 4 movies in one episode. It was only once a week. Jason Callan doing One night a review, one day, two in a day. It's insane. I can't keep up with Jason Callan. He has more time than I do, because when I do a review, I really, really get into it. I really get into it because I'm passionate about the film. And I'm excited about this movie. I am going to rewatch it. I am going to buy it. And that's a miracle. For me, that's a miracle. Okay? Because at first, I don't like Disney. I hated that they bought Star Wars, and I hate that they bought Marvel and Alien and 20th Century Fox. I just don't like that. But I thought I'm going to give it a chance, and I have to go to the movie theater. I'm done watching good movies on television. I am done. I'm a movie theater goer. So anyway, so I go see this movie. I have like high expectations because I've seen the trailer and I've heard other things. I did not hear any other reviews. I don't watch other guys talking about the movie. I try to avoid everything before I speak on the movie, okay? So I will say there are some things that are not so great about the movie, but overall this movie personifies and captures the comic book in a very great way, in a good essence. You can feel the hype, you feel the good vibe, okay? It's fun. It's a fun movie. It's entertaining. It takes itself very seriously when it comes to physics, mathematics, science. It tries to explain a lot of things, maybe too much of the, presenting the facts, but that's fine. Now, I had issues with Pedro Pascal, playing Reed Richards, the leader of the Fantastic Four. But when I left the film, I was not mad. He did a really good job playing this character. So I separate the actor who's LGBT and is crazy, his brother is like trans or something. So I went in with an open mind. He played the character really seriously and really well. And he knew what he was talking about. You could tell it was from the comics, like all the stuff he says. Now, if you don't know what happens in the Fantastic Four, it's basically these 4 astronauts that get sent into space, and they get hit with a galactic storm or a solar storm or whatever, some sort of storm, electrical storm, whatever, and they all turn mutants, and they come back to Earth, and they all have superpowers, okay? And they're a family. That's what the movie's about, family. And you really feel that in the movie. You really feel it, that they're united, they're together, they care about each other. So I've got to give it to Marvel and Disney for really doing that. It seems like they're getting away from all the, LGBT agenda and all the pushing of, you got to believe this, and you get the politics, It's like they put away the politics a little bit, not too much. There's still something in there that, you might say, okay, I don't know, this is weird. That wasn't really in the comic book. But one issue that I have a big issue with the movie is okay, there's a theory that that this Earth, it starts off that it's Earth like 883 or something. So that tells you that there's 800 Earths. So what they're saying, they believe in the multiverse, okay, in the theory, the chaos theory. They believe in the multi-universes and the dimensions. And I don't believe in any of that. I think it's just a bunch of junk. That theory about, the multiverses and the thousands of Earths and all that in a different plane of the universe, and it's not true, okay? But Marvel has been using it for a long time with like Doctor Strange and Spider-Man, Coming Home, whatever. The reason that studios are using this multiverse, dimensional parallel universe bullshit, because it is bullshit. The reason they're using this is they can do whatever they want. So they don't have to do what it says in the comic book. That's how they were able to bring in like Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield and the new Spider-Man together in a movie, because they said it's a parallel universe. You can make anything up. And that's why they can have a black Spider-Man, a Mexican Spider-Man, a woman Spider-Man, You can do whatever you want now, because if you make stuff up, if you theorize about this bullshit, this theory that there's like 20 million Earths or whatever. Anyway, in this movie, this Earth is not, I don't believe it's our Earth, because there's flying cars in the 60s. And I was like, what the fuck's going on? There's like police cars flying and like they have a flying car and all that stuff. And we know that was never in the 60s, right? But that's the explanation, okay? If you say that it's not this Earth, but it's another Earth, and it looks similar to our Earth, then you can do whatever you want. You can have like, 1,000 Reed Richards. You can have like, 100, Galactus people. You can do whatever you want. So that's what the studios are doing to write nonsense, okay? At least they didn't go too far in this movie. They kept it realistic, okay? Now, I've been waiting to see Galactus on screen, like I said, for like 15 years, for a long time. Galactus is fucking awesome in the comics, okay? And I wanted to see it. And it blew me away. It was so good. It was pretty amazing to see Galactus get to Earth and actually walk around New York City. That was epic. The final battle is really fun. It's smart writing. It's really smart stuff. It's like technical and, genius stuff, because, they are geniuses. They're pretty smart people. And I thought, they do have spoilers. They do have a baby, and a lot of the 80s movies, like the villain was always wanted to get the baby, right? But so this is the same thing. Like Galactus wants the baby because he's a super powerful, whatever mutant, whatever. Now I don't want to spoil it too much, but that's why Galactus comes to Earth, because he wants their baby, okay? And so they got to figure out how to do it. Now, there was a lot of space travel here in this movie, a lot of like warp speed travel, like galactical travel from like Earth to like a nebula in a rocket ship, They had a lot of that. So give me a second. Sorry, I had to get some water. So there was a lot of like space, a lot of stars, a lot of galaxies. It almost reminded me of like Space Mountain or something. It was really fun. And the acting is superb. The storyline makes absolute sense. It's really fun. You have the messenger, the Silver Surfer. Instead of being a guy, it's a woman. It's okay. I know the Silver Surfer was a woman in one comic or two. I didn't have a problem with that. I knew they were gonna do something like that. Like they had to swap, the gender of like one character. That's fine. I'm not complaining. Anyway, it's I think it's one of the best Marvel movies in 15 years. Still, my favorites are the original Spider-Mans, the first Captain America, the first Iron Man, the Avengers, the first one, and that's it. That's as far as I went with Marvel. I didn't care about Thanos and because the CGI looked terrible, and there is an appearance by Doctor Doom at the end of this movie, which is sort of shocking to me. That because in the original Fantastic Four, we had Doctor Doom in the entire movie. It was pretty, he was pretty cool. I like that Doctor Doom, but here he only shows up like at the credits, like the post credit or whatever they call it. And we know that he's going to be played by Robert Downey Jr. I hope he doesn't take over the movie, okay? Because this guy, he thinks he's like the best, and he's always taking over everything. All right, he took over the Avengers. He thinks he's like the greatest shit on the fucking Hollywood. And they dumped the Captain America. They make him a secondary hero, and everybody's a secondary hero to fucking Iron Man. All right, because of Robert Downey Jr., because he thinks he's like the best shit everywhere. And I met him, and he's an asshole. Robert Downey Jr. is a piece of shit. All right? But anyway, I think 20 minutes is good for a review. It's more of a, I hope you understand where I'm coming from. I really have an issue with Marvel overall, but I think they really tried. They really wanted to do this movie right. I think they wanted to do this movie right. They took it to another level when it comes to writing, okay? Because it's the same sort of special effects and, look. But I was impressed by the acting. I was impressed by the Sue Storm. Sue Storm has a really emotional scene at the end. She's all powerful. And you know that the woman was going to save the family, right? Because it's Disney. The mom, she's she's the best, right? She has the most power. She's better than the husband. She's better than the brother. The mom is the most powerful being in the universe. So she's the one that beats Galactus. A spoiler. I'm sorry, spoiler. But when this movie comes on Disney Plus, I recommend you watch it. If you are a Fantastic Four fan, I don't know. I don't think a lot of people are Fantastic Four fans. I haven't heard anybody around here say they like Fantastic Four, except for Jason Callan. So I don't think people care that much because I don't think they ever read the comic book. Now, I watched the cartoons in the 80s, okay? And I love the Fantastic Four just because, they have a tower. They have these really cool powers. And, I always like the Human Torch. I don't know. I always like the Iceman. I always like Iceman and the Human Torch. For some reason. Maybe because fire and ice, whatever. And it was just really cool. And that when they teamed up with Spider-Man and some of the other characters, I had really a lot of fun. So I gotta say, this movie, I'm 53, but if you were a kid and you went to see this at the movie theaters, I think you would love it. It's just so much fun. It has like family, fun, charisma. It has emotion. I'm not saying it's the best Marvel movie of all time, okay? But when you get to see Galactus, he's badass. He's one of the greatest villains in the Marvel Universe, Galactus. He's better than Thanos, okay? He's better than Doctor Doom, okay? The Sentinels and X-Men, Magneto. Galactus is the number one villain in the Marvel comics, okay? You can say it was Dr. Octopus or whatever, but for me it was Galactus because he's a giant and he's a super god, okay? He's from the ancient times. He's an alien, okay? I think he's really cool. And I think you might be surprised of what they try to do in the movie at the end. I think it works. Do we need a sequel with Doctor Doom? Yeah, I think we do, because we need to see Doctor Doom kick ass and beat down the Fantastic Four. We need to see a fight, and we didn't see that here. We just saw it between, Galactus trying to get the baby, which is okay. And but overall, I think this movie has brought back like the Marvel excitement. Okay, the Marvel that I used to love. And if you're gonna see the movie, I would suggest at least you read up a little bit on Fantastic Four before you watch the movie. Not so much. You don't have to know everything about Fantastic Four. Just a little bit, okay? Just like the Thing. Who's the Thing, right? That's just gotta know a little bit of it. And then they got this robot, kind of funny. I think his name is Herbie or something. It's like a little robot with a tape, and that helps him. Also very cool. I didn't have a problem with them. The sets are amazing. The colors, the cinematography. It's quality. You could tell that this director, Matt, whatever his name, Shachak, you can tell he really cared about and he directed these actors very well. So I'm gonna give this movie 2 thumbs up, baby. Yeah. See you guys later, and may the force be with you. Bye.